As China's global stature has grown, many anticipated that its arms exports would reflect its corresponding position on the world stage. However, after decades of effort, this hasn't happened for Beijing. A June 2021 confrontation with the Philippines, where Chinese naval vessels illegally encroached on Philippine waters, highlighted a core issue and exposed a fundamental weakness of China. Very few nations want to cooperate with Beijing. For decades, it was assumed that China's rise to become a major global fighter jet exporter was almost inevitable. In April 1997, Interavia, once an influential trade magazine, predicted that China is poised to surpass Russia and that Beijing would outpace Moscow by a decade or more as a supplier of combat aircraft to the developing world. 9 years later, Aviation Week and Space Technology commented, China could emerge as a supplier of low-cost fighter packages for the export market. However, actual statistics clearly show that nothing of the sort has occurred. From 2000 to 2020, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute's Arms Trade Database, China exported only $7.2 billion worth of military aircraft. In contrast, the United States safely maintained its top position with $99.6 billion in exports, and Russia was second with $61.5 billion. Even France's aircraft exports were double China's at $14.7 billion. To date, there are few signs of improvement in China's upward trend. Their fighter jets haven't broken out of their relatively small core market. In the 1990s, Beijing's largest customers were Pakistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, North Korea, and some African countries. This list remains largely the same today. This sluggish sales performance has nothing to do with the aircraft themselves. China has made significant strides in improving its state-owned aerospace technology base, particularly in the military sector. They've produced quality products, or at least products comparable to the Soviet Union's highly successful export aircraft. The J-10, a fighter jet Beijing introduced in the 2000s, has operational characteristics, including speed, range, payload, weapon capability, and sensors that are entirely comparable to American, Russian, and European aircraft on the export market. The J-10C variant is even equipped with an active electronically scanned array, AESA radar, like most modern Western fighter jets. However, not a single one has been sold abroad, even though China has attempted to market the J-10 to its largest military aircraft customer, Pakistan, and other countries for over 20 years. It wasn't until December 2021 that Pakistan finally agreed to purchase 36 J-10C fighter jets from Beijing. But this was merely Islamabad's response to India's earlier purchase of French fighter jets. Modern fighter jets like the J-15 Flying Shark or the J-31 stealth fighter, advertised as being on par with the most advanced Russian and Western aircraft, have also appeared on the market in recent years, but without any rumors of international interest. Chinese media describes the J-31 fighter as a fifth-generation stealth aircraft with power and modern features comparable to the American F-22 Raptor, F-35, or the Russian T-50. It's even rumored that China developed the J-31 based on classified information about the US F-35 program stolen by Chinese spies. It's highly probable that the cost of these fighter jets is too expensive for China's core fighter jet customer base. But that doesn't explain the export failure for all older models. So why are no countries daring to buy Beijing's fighter jets, specifically the mighty Dragon J-20? First, despite its large size, the J-20 carries very few weapons. The J-20 has a large internal weapons bay under its belly that can hold 4 PL-15 long-range air-to-air missiles, and 2 smaller bays on the side of the engines that can carry 2 PL-10 short-range air-to-air missiles. The total weapon payload of the J-20 consists of 6 missiles, 4 long-range and 2 short-range. Additionally, the J-20 does not appear to be equipped with a cannon, or this feature has not been disclosed. Articles about the J-20 in Chinese media only mention missiles and make no mention of a cannon. If it's not equipped with a cannon, this could be a major drawback for the J-20. A cannon is an essential weapon in close-range combat, especially after all missiles have been launched. The American F-22 Raptor stealth fighter can carry a total of 8 missiles, including 6 long-range and 2 short-range, along with an M61, a 220mm 6-barrel cannon. Meanwhile, the F-22 is smaller and lighter than the J-20. The Russian Su-57 stealth fighter can carry 8 missiles, including 6 long-range and 2 short-range, along with a 30mm cannon. Currently, the Su-57's weapons bay is highly regarded by military analysts because it can carry a variety of weapons, including air-to-air, air-to-ground, and anti-ship missiles. Thus, the J-20 is the largest stealth fighter among the world's 5th-generation fighter jet projects, but it carries the fewest missiles. Why is this? There are many speculations for Beijing's apparent oversight, but one widely supported hypothesis is that the lack of a cannon indicates that air combat is not the J-20's primary mission. China may even want it to avoid aerial engagements at all costs. This is because its targets are not enemy fighters, but critical support aircraft like aerial refuelers and early warning aircraft. Tactically, the J-20's presence could force U.S. forces to maintain a greater distance during a conflict. If this is China's intention, then homegrown products are truly for homegrown use. This is because very few countries want to buy a fighter jet that isn't designed for close-range combat and destroying enemy fighter jets, unless you want to buy it purely for symbolic retaliation, like Pakistan. Second, even though Chinese media praises these fighter jets as mighty dragons, they only have a weak roar because one of their key components, the engine, cannot compete with products from Russia and the United States. China's engine manufacturing technology lags far behind its Russian and Western competitors, significantly weakening its domestically produced fighter jets. Western arms export restrictions prohibit contractors from selling military-grade engines to China, forcing them to either develop their own engines or use engines that Russia agrees to supply for their fighter jets. During a 2014 demonstration, the J-31 fighter was heavily criticized by military experts for spewing thick black smoke from its engines, with many claiming that radar wasn't even needed. Simply seeing the black smoke was enough to detect China's stealth aircraft. As a result, aircraft like the J-20 and J-31 cannot fly at supersonic speeds, like their F-22 and F-35 counterparts, without using afterburners. To achieve supersonic speeds, these fighter jets must use afterburners, but this component negates the aircraft's stealth capabilities, a crucial factor in protecting the aircraft from modern enemy air defense radar systems. The J-31 that emitted black smoke uses Russia's RD-93 engine, a variant of the RD-33 engine used for the MiG-29 fighter since the 1970s. The domestically produced WS-10A engine, installed in the J-20, is even worse. The WS-10 Taihang is the best fighter jet engine China has produced domestically. Although developed, or rather copied, from Russia's L-31F engine, the WS-10A is still not perfect enough to become a mainstay engine for China's defense industry. Poor lifespan due to limited domestic technology, low reliability, and instability during prolonged operation are the factors that make the WS-10A a culprit for the Chinese Air Force. It's not truly safe after a series of accidents throughout its operational period, and the price China has to pay is not just aircraft losses but also pilots. This makes it very difficult for them to secure lucrative contracts in the future. Unless the Chinese Air Force completely replaces domestic jet engines like the WS-10 with Russian AL-31F engines for its J-11, J-16, and even J-15 fighter jets to ensure the combat capability of these forces. The fate of the WS-10 will likely end as abruptly as its hasty beginning. The mighty Dragon J-20 still lacks sufficient power as it remains dependent on imported Russian engines. And naturally, no customer likes this. However, according to KTQS, the best explanation for this failure is China's foreign policy. They have become a major country with no friends. The Philippines is a perfect illustration of why China's fighter jet export ambitions have stalled. For 5 years, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte tried to steer the country away from the United States and closer to China. Furthermore, for several years prior, the country had never purchased a new fighter jet as its limited defense budget could only afford old jet aircraft from the United States. At that time, Manila was short on funds and eager to establish closer ties with China. This was the perfect formula for Beijing to make a breakthrough in the fighter jet export market in a crucial country in the region. If the Philippines had eventually purchased a few squadrons of Chinese fighter jets and at the same time asked the US Navy to stay away from their former bases, as they did in February 2020, the world would have seen this as a major foreign policy coup for China. However, that seems unlikely to happen. In May 2021, simmering tensions between the two countries in the South China Sea flared up when Philippine Foreign Minister Teodoro Locsin Jr. tweeted harsh criticism of China. Indeed, Beijing lacks appeal as a strategic partner in the region. Other countries don't gain much benefit from a strategic relationship with China that comes with purchasing their fighter jets. Yet, major regional markets like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Taiwan, and Singapore virtually all source their military aircraft from the United States. 4 of these countries are partners or customers of the F-35 fighter program, and all would play a significant role in any conflict with Beijing. What a major danger! While Beijing struggles to find customers, Washington's military export position tends to grow even further. Over the past decade, India has begun purchasing P-8 maritime patrol aircraft, C-17 and C-130J military transport aircraft, and AH-64 and CH-47 helicopters from the US, worth over $12 billion. The first sale of American fighter jets to India is highly likely in the next decade. China should be scared. But what's the most important takeaway from all of the above? It's that building good aircraft and various other weapons won't help China's defense industry or enhance its strategic power if the country truly has no friends. Thus, the fighter jets produced by Beijing are gradually becoming outcasts in the world's fighter jet export rankings. In your opinion, which country will be next after Pakistan to acquire China's Sky Ghosts? Please share your predictions in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and share if you found this video interesting.